Hey everybody, how's it going today? So, I posted there on the site the heart rate chart. And a heart rate chart is very important for us to really truly figure out that intensity piece that we're looking at. All right. So, when we look at that heart rate chart, for you guys, really, it's just going to be the one line that says age 15. We can kind of look at that particular one and really kind of gauge what it is that we're looking at here when we look at it. So if you look at that sheet, in the first column it says 55%, then it says 60%, then it says 70, then it says 80, then it says 85. All right. So when we're looking at that, when we talk about the light intensity exercise, the moderate, and then the vigorous, what I'd like us to do is the light would be 55 to 60%, so those first two columns. The moderate would be the 70% column. Then the vigorous would be the 80 to 85% of the last two. So it's the bottom two are light, the middle one is moderate, and then the upper two are vigorous. And so when we're doing that, as you can see up at the top of that chart, it also tells us how to check our heart rate. Now, there's lots of different ways to check your heart rate. You can do it on an app on your phone. Sometimes there's apps that are free apps that are on your phone that you can help check your heart rate with. There are heart rate monitors that you actually wear, like a Fitbit, that go on that can also check your heart rate. And then it's a very, very important thing for you to do while you are working out so that you can actually gauge what intensity that exercise is. So that when you do that activity chart, you're comparing apples to apples. In other words, we don't want to call it vigorous exercise if it's not, because that's something that we need to know for sure when we're doing it. So on that sheet, you can see that you always use these two fingers. Okay, you don't use your thumb because your thumb has its own pulse, and so you don't want to use that when you're checking your heart rate if you're doing it manually. So when you're doing these things, you can, if you look at your hand and you followed your thumb right down, you can kind of feel right in here off the side of your thumb, there's a little groove. And if you use these two fingers and you kind of push in, so I usually go off the back of my thumb, just kind of follow that down. There's a little groove and you can feel it right in there. Okay. You just feel little pressure beats on your finger. Okay. The other way we do it is to come down right behind your ear, follow your jaw down, and again, you'll feel a little difference there. You can feel your trachea and your windpipe. So you kind of push in there, you can feel the same thing. All right. And so what we look at is on that chart, it gives you a number. Well, what that number is how many beats that you would feel for 10 seconds. Okay. So what I usually do is you can just set up on your phone and you can do, go to stopwatch, like here, or you can go to timer and do so you could do 10 seconds, and it's counting down on your clock. Okay. So basically what we're going to do is let's do this together. So you're going to find your heart rate. And then I'll tell you when to start. Start. Stop. Okay, so that number there is what we would call our resting heart rate, because you're not exercising. What's going on here? You're just resting. I mean, you're here. We're not doing any activity at the moment. So that would be your resting heart rate. But you do the same kind of thing when you're working out. You stop somewhere after your workout has started, and you check your heart rate and you see where you're at. All right. So I want you to try and practice that a little bit. Check your heart rate. Make sure you know how to check it. Make sure you can feel it. It might take a little, testing to get it going so that you get the best way. Some people it's best on your neck. Some people it's best on your wrist. It just kind of depends. So go ahead and work on that. Try those out a few different times. And then there'll be another video for you to watch that I've created before about heart rate, which we will put up so you can see what the best way is for your heart rate, so we can really check that intensity.